This time you won't come back. Help me!
Can we define what a battle is? What does it mean? Why does it need to happen? What does it tell the audience? Well, today I hope to teach you what it truly means to write one. Hi, I'm Talon Talks. I'm here today to teach you all about battles in anime, and why they're needed to fully understand a series and its characters. Let's get into it. The entire fight works because of what was set up. Gon has always been a childish character. Appearance and act are all parts of that. But what kicks this off is the fact that we've never seen Gon go through intense mental pain before, because that lack of pain is what's keeping him like this. That lack of pain is what's keeping us thinking that he's still this childish character, as well as, well, the way he acts. But at the start of the Chimera Ant arc, they feel an intense power. One that says nothing but, I'm going to kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. This one-sided war gets waged upon Kite, wanting Gon to kill all his friends. So what else can they do other than run from their friend getting killed? Nothing. They can only run. That sense of helplessness as well makes Gon want to get into this fight even more, and get revenge for one of his allies. The build-up to the war on the Chimera Ants was done extremely well. What we see is nothing but Gon's desperation to help Kite as they've retrieved his body. As we've seen these extremely powerful characters just do nothing but decimate the protagonist and his allies. However, there is still hope in Gon's childish mind that Kite can be brought back, and that's something communicated to us clearly, to a point that, you know what, we have to hope that he can be brought back as well, because Gon's hope gives us hope. Gon hunts down P2 and finds her. She's healing this small girl, and why? Because she helped the king. That's why. Out of fear? No. She helped him find something that he was missing. That being, while he might be a Chimera Ant, he was, at the end of the day, made with human parts. Gon, upon seeing this, watches her and gives her one singular hour to heal Kumogi. And once that hour is up, they take the girl hostage and drag her to finally heal Kite and bring him back to life. Humanity is a marvel, and whether that's a good or bad thing is really up to who you ask. We are the most evolved species on this planet. We're able to reattach hands and feet, transplant everything from hair to organs, give people new life with powerful technology. But through all of humanity's triumphs, there are always flaws in the system. So when Gon tells her to fix Kite, she can't. You cannot bring back one's life after it's been taken. Gon stands in disbelief about what he had just heard, and he turns into this beast. No longer a boy, but an adult who has matured. Someone who's experienced pain and loss. Someone who knows what it's like to go through something traumatic. The entire arc dealt with the idea of maturity and growing. Gon from the beginning of this arc was cemented in that fact. As you may or may not recall, he used Jank and Rock, or Rock Paper Scissors, which is a play on a childish game, displaying his mindset front and center. Or you can even take a look at the king, Meruem, as he goes through this trial of finding who he is. And while that works with Meruem, there's really no battle there. So that's why I decided to go with Gon versus P2. It works even better than the Meruem and Komugi due to the fact that the audience is growing with Gon. We've been growing with him since the beginning of the series, ever since the first chapter, the Hunter exams, and even at the start of this very arc. We've been growing with Gon. That's why this battle works. It's one of maturity and fighting back. It's a story of revenge and what burdens come with it. Strength, power, resilience, determination, will. Those are all things that are required for a fight, especially one of this caliber. Baki versus Yujiro is between a father and a son. It's a war between these two, surely for the purpose of retribution of one's mother. Something vital for any series is a pattern. Usually this takes place in the form of symbolism, and here it is no different. It's all about the actions taken and the words spoken. Not much emphasis put on the subtlety, so you may be wondering what I'm talking about. It's all worth it, I assure you, so let's start. Yujiro educates Baki when eating. Yujiro educates Baki when dressing. He educates Baki on how he should act. See where I'm going with this? He's teaching Baki that he's an adult, now that he's freshly 18, a big part in the lead up to the battle. Baki's age, 18. It's mentioned by Yujiro, Orochi, and several other characters. Baki is 18. It's a somewhat subtle way for the series to tell the audience the big message, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. First, we must establish that there is a love between Baki and Yujiro Hanma, a love through strength. It's due to who they are, the way they express it, and what they do that makes me view it in this way. Yujiro punished his son as a father would. Yujiro showed his son affection the way a father would. He ate with his son the way a father would, all with one spin on it: strength. These two are the world's strongest creatures. The only way they can express that love is through this fight. This fight is about a father and a son. It is one of Yujiro helping Baki as a father and son would do, through the way the strongest on the planet would. And most importantly, this is about Baki becoming a man and proving that to his father. With such emphasis on the age of 18 through this fight, it's quite evident that it was its intended message. Baki becomes a man, for Yujiro to test that. It was something prevalent in Baki 2020, as he goes from a high schooler to the champion, as he became one of the winners at the Chinese tournament. And now, he's taking that spot Yujiro held for years, the world's strongest. But before we go on, we need to discuss something important to the Baki universe.
Invisible food.
What?
This is what it was all about. Invisible food.
What?
Invisible food.
The invisible food is a sign of respect, or symbolic of fighting, and how it's used here is to show who wins, who is the strongest, and who is on top. Yujiro bows before Baki when the meal starts and ends at Baki's house, or at the hotel, or even on the fighting grounds of which they stand. It's all a mutual sign of respect. He wants to see Baki's development, not only as a fighter, but as well as an adult. Baki is no longer a child, he is an adult, with the ending of this short segment meaning something. What that something isn't mine to say. Yujiro tried to catch the table and the bowl when they were flipped, but they had disappeared. Yujiro had tried to catch the food he prepared, the invisible food, if you will, when Baki flipped the table, which sent the bowl and the table itself flying. However, right after this, they disappeared. Baki had flipped the table to save him from the soup prepared, a show of dominance. He made the strongest man stand in the kitchen and saved him. Baki was in control. Baki was the dominant spirit. That's what this fight was all about. Not only preparing Baki for his new position as the world's strongest, but educating him on what comes with being an adult. Or, I don't know. This was honestly too confusing, so closing thoughts, invisible food. Good night. My Hero Academia is a controversial series, especially considering the recent incoherent ending of the final battle, which I will not spoil for you. The reason I bring this up is that My Hero Academia has been rightfully dragged due to the lack of creative potential Horikoshi takes. He's good at conceptualizing, I'll admit that, but he's poor on the execution side of things. However, that goes for every fight except for a single one, which is one of my favorites. The all-out war between the heroes and Overhaul was near perfection for the series and what the story world brings. Overhaul was the icon of fear after the supposed fall of All For One. He has a quirk to change or destroy the anatomy of those around him, and a vision to change the world, rid of this sickness, and exploit heroes to achieve his goal of the Yakuza reaching #1 once again. Now look at Deku. He wishes to bring this world peace and let it prosper, and a great motivator for that is becoming #1, which, while I don't view them as nearly the same, they have a single goal in mind that makes them alike, that many would normally look over, which makes me enjoy this fight regardless of how it goes. Is a good factor, letting the antagonist resemble the protagonist in some sort of way. Something that is brought up repeatedly throughout books of storytelling is great sacrifice. What would you consider a great sacrifice? Giving up on a dream to raise a child, serving one's community or country, maybe even getting a job. What about losing a part of yourself to save someone who can't run from their tormentor? In actuality, Togata chose the latter, because if that girl can't smile, then he cannot let this go. This all here frustrates me, because every other battle was great in the concept phase, but in execution, it sucked. It just sucked. All Might vs. Overhaul was awful. It was built up to, but it was a single chapter long, and the reveals were so underhyped, criminally even. But this is all a gray lining, that if he tries genuinely, he can break through that wall and make an immaculate product. Here specifically, Togata fights for the girl who simply cannot fight back. It shows who he is on the surface and under it. He fights for the weak. He tries to help anyone he can, because to me, that's what heroes do. And for the life of this girl, what specifically does he sacrifice? His dream to save 1 million. His way to help his community, his job, and most specifically, his quirk. He sacrificed part of himself for another life. In a sea of frauds, he was an outlier. He is a hero who was pissed off enough to give up everything for one life who needed help. Throughout this battle, one thing is clear. Much like how these heroes don't want people to get hurt, Eri too wants those people around her to stay safe, because she knows exactly what Overhaul is capable of. She's been zapped of hope. The hope to get out, the hope to fight, the hope that others can defeat her captor. A lack of hope is something I've discussed in many videos, most commonly with Cell. Zapping hope is a great way to bring the story full circle into something entirely different, going from good to great, and from great to godlike. Cell beating everyone into the ground was a great display of power, which gave us fear and hopelessness. That is the same fear and hopelessness Overhaul is putting Eri through, that he's putting us through. The final segment of this battle is one of hopelessness versus hope. Deku fights because he sees someone in pain. Deku was the one to take up All Might's mantle, to become the symbol of hope and peace. However, this fight isn't about one climbing the ranks to become number one. It's not about someone trying to claim endless wealth or fortune. This is about protecting a small defenseless child from the beast known as Overhaul. And it's ironic that children are the very ones bringing that hope. That's why this battle works. Hope versus the lack thereof. A battle is much more than the punches thrown. It's as well what those attacks mean. Pride, hope, confidence, anger, sadness, despair are many things we can take from this battle. So why not take that same idea and explain it further? Pokemon Journeys was one of the greatest animation pieces ever made. It was a battle that was built up to for 25 years. So before we get to the main event of the video, sit down and hear what I have to say about Leon versus Ash. Ash versus Leon was a homage to the Pokemon franchise, and it was probably the best finale of any long-running series. It was the perfect send-off to Ash. Why? He never won, but was always so close. He had the biggest heart in the competition. He chose to become the very best, like no one else before. He walked down that road here. The final obstacle in the way to his destination was Leon. Leon was a great candidate for Ash's final fight. He was a champion, the greatest of all time. He had already accomplished everything Ash hopes to. He was in Ash's position. Losing, awful, no potential, but he fought his way to the top. Ash is in his former position. They are one and the same. As I've stated many times, a villain or antagonist should always resemble the hero or the protagonist in some way. This is the reason Leon works. He knows Ash. He is Ash. He knows how much Ash wants to achieve that goal, and while not exactly spoken or stated, it was at least there in some way. Every individual battle was decent, but none of those are what I'm here for. Something that is brought to the forefront in this battle is Pikachu's and Ash's determination. Their determination to fight until the very end. They're putting their all not into just this battle, but as well as each strike. This is the moment these two have been waiting for. Pikachu and Ash have lost again and again and again, with the lights cut off. Charizard versus Pikachu, the fan favorite versus the mascot, however, is exactly what I want to dissect. Pikachu gets beaten into the ground, and he gets some hits in. These two were beasts on the field. They both fought for a dream, one of retaining and one of attaining the same dream, being a Pokemon master. Goals are and should be personal to the character. It should make both the characters and the audience care about that dream. There's a reason Naruto's dream of becoming the Hokage is so well done, but it also strikes what he needs by proxy, or why Deku's dream of becoming the #1 hero works. He wants to attain that dream because of who he idolizes. But what's the biggest reason as to why these characters work? They have to work hard to attain those dreams. Struggle is vital to a character, and that's what Ash is showing off here. But all of a sudden, Pikachu is put onto the ground, nearly out for the count. And much like every other battle here, all hope was lost. However, he appears in this white void, surrounded by his former teammates, by his former partners. Throughout this entire scene, the legend of Ho-Oh was played, when Pikachu looked to his old companions, when all hope seemed lost. It resembled the start of Ash's and Pikachu's journey in Pokemon, and showed the evolution Pikachu and Ash had taken from the beginning to this point. In Pokemon The Legend of Ho-Oh, something happened. Ho-Oh watched as humans brought war and destruction to this world, and he had left. It was only stated that he would come back when humans and Pokemon lived in peace. Ash and Pikachu, as well as all others, are at peace with themselves and one another. They are friends, partners, and most importantly, allies who will never back down from a battle. Ho-Oh here might not be back physically, but he is here in spirit. And with how it's used, that's perfectly fine with me. New blood pumps through both. They may be on the ground, with all their adrenaline gone, but they've gotten this far. They've been knocked down before, but they keep on getting back up. The strikes put on Charizard are fatal blows, but Charizard returns the favor. But a fight is nothing without struggle, as I stated earlier. A fight is nothing without the will to step in and stay in. A fight is nothing without the characters who are willing to fight for their dream. Dream for Ash and Pikachu, but as well as all of their prior friends. Misty and Brock, May and Dawn, Serena and Clement. We were watching with these characters. They wanted this as much as we wanted it. We wanted this as much as Ash. This was about trials and tribulations. This was about Ash's determination to achieve and never give up. While I would talk about creativity, that's not what this fight is about. What does every other battle in Pokemon have in common? Ash's determination to never give up. This was one of the greatest fights to date, because this was 25 years of lead up. 25 years of trial and tribulation. 25 years of Ash's determination. 25 years worth the wait. And finally, Ash became a Pokemon Master. This battle, much like the Cell games I mentioned in the Tournament Arcs video, is mostly based on what leads up to the climax, to which said climax is entirely determined on what goes down throughout this fight. It takes what we've seen thus far and cranks it to 11. What we need to know is that a beast is on this planet. He has beaten Nail, he has beaten the most powerful Namekians, and his henchmen had nearly killed Vegeta, Krillin, and Gohan, up until Kakarot or Goku had shown himself. Goku was set up to be the savior of this story. He'd been injured, and everyone else was sent to Namek. So soon, he'd travel to Namek, training the entire time. The sheer weight, struggle, and power emitting from Goku shows us that he's not the same as he was before. Goku is far more powerful now, but when Ginyu shows up, he nearly kills Goku, and for the time being, Goku will be put in this pod until he can completely heal. These three, plus Piccolo, must fight the demon, the beast, Lord Frieza. Frieza throughout this battle cannot be stopped by a single being. Not a single soul can stop him, no matter what they do. Gohan gets dropped, Krillin gets dropped, Vegeta gets dropped, and picked like a vegetable and then dropped again. On and on again. Not a single character can step to this beast. No one, except for Goku. In the fight against the Ginyu Force, the team we currently have got annihilated up until Goku got to Namek. That began the cycle. Goku was set up as the savior. The fight against Frieza was a pattern. We saw a character struggle against the Ginyu Force, but they had kept triumphing. Here, after each and every triumph, there's some amount of hope continuously being taken from us. They constantly get beaten, but these here are his weaker forms. Frieza grabs Vegeta when he tries to fight, and does all but kill him, telling Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo that they can help when they feel like it. They are screwed. You see what I'm telling you? Setup is vital to any arc. The fight, or even story for that matter. But here, it was done to perfection. A setup is more vital, I feel, to a battle than the story. Because when you build up to a battle, a war, or a fight, it means much more than if you do it correctly. There's a reason almost every other tournament arc works. There's a reason Cell vs. the Z Fighters works. There's a reason why Denji vs. Makima, Gojo vs. the Curses, Yuji vs. Mahito. There's a reason why all these battles work. It's due to the setup and how it's done. Taking away hope, giving someone a trial, or something that's very relevant here, trying to break one down. And now that Goku has been healed completely, Let's check out that very concept. Frieza vows to eliminate all Saiyans, but why? Out of fear. Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta because he feared the supposed power of the Super Saiyan. But here he stands against one of the final Saiyans, the strongest one to date. He fears that power that no other knows. That's what makes Frieza a good villain, especially for this fight. His motivator was fear. He saw the power before it was too late and exterminated it all, before it got out of control. Fear is a great motivator, and is something prevalent within Dragon Ball, and is something that is connected to the villains down to their roots. Vegeta brought a reckoning to the series, as well as fear. Cell was the manifestation of that very fear, as I discussed in several videos. Boo was there. Frieza is different, however, because he's the only villain to have fear and give fear. He was a great character to oppose Goku, because Goku is one to overcome the impossible, which includes fear. And how does one overcome that fear? Like Goku? The answer is pride. Vegeta is a character who can display pride. While he is arrogant, to him that's what pride is. It's not that his opponent believes that he would win, but that Vegeta believes he can win. Vegeta tells Goku to let go and kill Frieza, to stop the murderer of his race, to stop the demon from killing any other, but Goku refuses. He wishes to fight without killing, but Vegeta speaks nothing but the truth here. He's not just speaking from a point of hatred for Frieza, nor just from a point of trying to get out of there alive, but from a point of pride. He's telling Goku to let go, not because of a sense of anger, but because he's telling him to reclaim his pride as a Saiyan by killing Frieza, the murderer of the Saiyan race. That's why Goku is failing to understand pride. It's not about letting go and killing just to kill. It's about vengeance. It's about what he did to them. So Vegeta gets killed almost instantly after this, and he wishes for some of that Saiyan pride, asking Vegeta's dead corpse. But what he doesn't know is that having that pride and flourishing in it is accomplished by killing Frieza. Goku throughout could not hurt Frieza, and not just because he didn't want to. No kick, punch, ki blast had phased him. Nothing Goku can do would take him out. He lacks the power, and perhaps he hasn't given in to that killing intent. He's still there, completely. He's not willing to take hold of that pride completely if it means he has to kill Frieza. So how do you make one give in to that intent? Goku watches Frieza kill his best friend, Krillin, and this sets Goku off. He couldn't stop Frieza. Frieza had pushed Goku past the point of purity. He can no longer stand back and watch Frieza hurt more life, because he now knows that pain that Nail felt, that Vegeta felt, that his father, Bardock, felt. This may have all been a game from the start. Frieza was trying to break down Goku. This was not a game by Frieza, however, it was one from Akira Toriyama. How far can you take someone before they decide that morality is no longer the option to go? That's what this battle is. Remember fear? Well, to reiterate an earlier statement, Frieza is scared of death when he tried to blow up the planet. He intentionally gave it a 5-minute span of life before destruction. He didn't want to go all out and destroy the planet for 2 reasons. Because he may have a chance to kill Goku and then leave. But also, he could have been caught in the blast and died as well. Which, that fear is what allowed Goku to live. That's Frieza's flaw. Killing without getting killed. One must understand that fighting someone strong may bring death, but they should be ready for it. That's what works with Goku. Goku has accepted that he must take a life because Frieza had killed someone he loved. Because he doesn't care that he might die. As long as he'll be dragging Frieza to hell with him, that's all that matters. Goku kept fighting till the end, where he had once stood. He was the pinnacle of purity, a pure soul, one full of wonder and joy, who had been turned against that ideal by this battle, and finally made him take a life in the most gruesome way he could. Goku versus Frieza was many things, evil versus purity, but as well, what would happen if that purity was expelled from a person? How far could you push a person until they break? That's what the Super Saiyan transformation brought to the table. It's activated by feeling strong emotion from anything that may happen. And what happened was Frieza killing his best friend, killing someone he had loved. That's the beauty within destruction. Goku, even in this mindset of nothing but killing, he still does this out of love for those around him. To keep those around him safe, and to take back that pride that had been once taken by Frieza. Each and every battle dealt with many things: build up, character development, and the way the characters were used. So next time you're reading any battle, I want you to look at it. Read the lines spoken and the actions taken. Try to read in between those lines to understand what the message is. Because I can guarantee you, depending on the series it is, there will always be a deeper meaning to it. But anyway, my name's Talon Talks. Thank you for watching. Until next time, have a good day.